The man, homie. What the fuck happened to you, dickhead? Damn, bro, what happened, dog? You was the man in high school. Now look at you, all fucked up in the game, drawn. Yeah, remember you used to flex on me in high school? Remember? 'Cause I used to wear them baggy ass clothes and all that. Now look at you. Look at me. You mean? Look at you now. Huh? You just school. You ain't gonna say shit. It's cool. You can smoke your tree. You can smoke your tree. All right, dickhead. What? I'm not shaking your hand. Look at you, dog. Tighten the fuck up, bro. Tighten the fuck up, bro. Real shit. Tighten the fuck up. Look at you, dog. You drawn. Thick ass butters, man. You drawn, dog. Tighten the fuck up. Lucky I ain't got my eggs on y'all. Yoke the shit out you. In high school, you was the man, homie. What the fuck happened to you?
Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who will and teach well, who taught us his truth. I came across this video and I just wanted to do a response to it. I want to get 1 Corinthians 2 and 14. It says, "But the natural man receives not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned." Here's the point. "But he that is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is judged by no man." And the point is that, this video, when I came across, this is actually very spiritual, because, you have a man coming across somebody that was over him in his youth. And this is what, people see this video, and I'm not going to go into the comments, but, I bet you in the comments that everybody in the comments is agreeing with what the guy behind the camera is saying. They're saying F him. Why? Because everybody has dealt with somebody, when they were younger, like a bully, whether he was the one that was bullying you, or whether you saw him bullying somebody else. We all have dealt with bullies, and so when we see the bully getting his fair share of judgment, the people are all in agreement with it. And so I wanted to do this video because with that same mentality that everybody has on at a basic level when it comes to issues with life, this same thing is going to happen spiritually. The people, the weak people, are going to be put on top. Matter of fact, let's get that Jacob, that worm. See, just as that man was being bullied by somebody that turned out to be a complete crackhead, but he was being bullied in his youth. And that's who the Israelites are. See, us in our youth, per se, according to that video, us in our lowest state, this is how the scripture likens us. This is Isaiah 41 and 14 says, fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. See, we're called a worm, man. In the same way that, that man was bullied by that bum, that's how we are, man. We are called a worm. We are in our low estate. We don't have a nation. We don't have, we don't even have our land. The guy mentioned that, hey, do you remember when I used to wear baggy pants? That's a low estate. We are in that low estate, man. Byword. Let's get there. Deuteronomy 28 and 37 says, "And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai shall lead thee." Man, we are in, we are that kid with the saggy jeans, with the, what is the brand of those jeans? Bugle Boys. Yeah, Bugle Boys. Yeah, we are the kid with the Bugle Boys in high school, man. We are that astonishment. And I bring this precept up to show our people that we truly are the Israelites, because the scripture said that the people of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai would be a very low people on the earth. And that rings true with the so-called blacks, with the so-called Hispanics, and with the so-called Native Americans, man. We are that proverb, man. But the good news is just as that guy, that guy he ended up turning his life around by whatever he did. I think he zoomed over to his car. I'm gonna try to find it, but our turning around isn't gonna be through anything that we do. Promotion. Let's get the our turning around is going to be by Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. This is Psalm 75 and 6. It says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. So there isn't any worldly event that's going to bring us up as a people. We're not going to vote our way into our rightful position. We're not going to go into another country and then, build, some kind of haven, because even then, you're you're still not getting the reward promised. Our exaltation, our place, us being positioned to be kings over the earth, that's coming here by the Most High, who is judge. He puts down one and sets up another, man. See, and this is a uncomfortable truth. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's an uncomfortable truth to those that walk by the camp, but you can, it can be as uncomfortable as it is for you, but it's the truth. See, throughout the scriptures, we see evidence of the Most High. He brought up the Assyrians, and then he took them down. Then he brought up the Babylonians, then he took them down. Then he brought up the Medo-Persian, and so on, to the Greeks and to the ancient Roman Empire. Now fast forward to the revived Roman Empire. See, people can go into the scriptures and you can clearly see the Most High promoting people. Okay, you can clearly see a judgment being dealt out, and the next form of judgment is going to be, matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get 2 Ezra 6 verse 9. Okay, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Now, who is Esau? Esau is the self-proclaimed whites, and Jacob, goes into the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, who are the 12 tribes of Israel? Again, I mentioned it earlier. So-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics, which are the least to be considered to be the next people to be in charge of the world, of the system of the galaxies underneath Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. So who is that? Who is Jacob? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Okay, so this is Jacob standing up in those last days. All right, verse 2, when they see it, now here's the point, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Verse 3, and repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot among the saints? See, Jacob is going. This describes a people that are rising up to power by the power of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And this group of people is a group that nobody expected. It says, we counted his life as madness. That's us. That's the so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics, because that's exactly what they call our life. People don't look at us as, as if we mean anything. You hear about 20 people dying in Chicago, or in some other minority community, and people just flip the channel. Oh, whatever. They look at us as if we're filth. Again, going back to the curses, going back to that proverb, us being called a byword, man. That's who Jacob is. Jacob is the group of people that are least expected, that when they get risen up, everybody's going to be surprised, because the truth is, right now, we are in our time of judgment. Okay, we are in a time where we have to be set low. Okay, Isaiah 3:12 says, "As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths." Now, what the scripture's talking about here, it's not talking about actual children, but it's talking about people that are below us, and that's exactly who this man was dealing with. He was being bullied by somebody who ultimately at the end would be shown to be below him, man. He was being ruled by children, and so have the Israelites, so have the so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics. We've been ruled by this bum, per se. All right? The scripture calls him the basis of men. This is Job 30 going into the wicked, which is Esau. And how can we link Esau with being the wicked? Malachi 1 verse 4. And he calls him the border of wickedness. That's the only group of people who are called as the wicked in context. Okay, because I can already hear somebody saying, "Oh well, the scriptures calls the Israelites wicked." Yes, but there's a difference between acting wicked and being the wicked. There's a difference between, for example, acting black and actually being black. Okay, which the whole world loves to do. Why? Because Judah, being the head tribe, Judah sets the trend, and everybody wants to be like Judah. But the point is, um, gosh, Salakia, I just got a text. Where was my point here? The point is that yes, the Job 30 has to do with the wicked. Salakia, I got distracted here. Job 30 and 1 says, "But now they that are younger," again, which lines up with that Isaiah, "now they that are younger than I have me in derision," which also lines up with that wisdom of Solomon. The fifth chapter. Let me see when they see it. I know that I read it when they see it. There you go. Verse 3. "This was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach." Again, Job is going hand in hand with Wisdom of Solomon, going hand in hand with Isaiah. Why? Because this is a prophetic statement. It says, "Now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock." Okay, verse 3, "For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste, going into the Edomites." Malachi 1 verse 4, the Most High tore them down, and then they built up, right? "They were driven forth from among men, and they to dwell in cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in rocks. They were children of fools, children of base men, they were viler than the earth. And now am I their song, yet I am their Bible." That's us, man. That's us. But there's hope. Okay? There is hope, man. In that video, again, that's how we're going to be like in the kingdom. Do you remember when, you had us working for 70 years? How we missed out on, kids being born, our kids, we couldn't raise our kids. Because of laws that you set, you had kids taken away from us, just all kinds of stuff, man. That's what we're going to be doing. Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and to a time to every purpose under the heaven." Okay, verse 4, "A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance." We are in our time. We are at the end of our time of mourning, man, and there's hope. Because Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is coming with healing in his wings, man. Matter of fact, let's get Job 20. There you go. Job 20, verse 8. It says, well, let's go back one verse just for the context. Yet, really the 20 says, verse 4 says, Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed on the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment?" Going into the wicked being Esau. It says, "Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach into the clouds." Oh, well, how do you know that's talking about Esau? Well, we just read, though his excellency mount up unto the heaven, that lines up with Obadiah, the first chapter, going into Esau, Edom. It says, though thou shalt exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Now let's go back to Job, okay? Because that Job 20 verse 6 lined up exactly with Obadiah the first chapter. It says, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. That's the hope that we have. The hope is that, we get to, when Yahweh Shai comes back, we get to wake up, in the kingdom, okay? Those that, kept the fight, those that, did the work in the time of captivity, those that built their spiritual ark before the day of judgment. And then we get to wake up in good standing. And, it's going to be a dream. Okay? And this is the patience of the saints, man. I'm not going to pull it, but Acts 1 verse 6. Will thou now restore the kingdom unto Israel? That's what our forefathers asked Yahweh when he raised from the grave. What is a kingdom? Well, what was King David's kingdom like? He had the Moabites and the Edomites laid it down. He set up garrisons, in the land of Edom and Moab. That's kingdom. And isn't that what we're told to pray? Thy kingdom come. Well, his kingdom, his kingdom goes Yahweh Shai, King David, and the elect. The 144,000, and then all of Israel, man. That's kingdomship. Okay? And this is, somebody might say, oh, well, you're in the Old Testament. No, even Yahweh Shai spoke about it in the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. Okay? It says, where we at? I had it somewhere right here. Right here. This is Luke 16 and 25. It says, but Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime received thy good things. So this is Abraham responding to the rich man. Okay, so in his lifetime, he received good things. Okay, again, going into the seasons. All right, to everything there is a season. It says, and likewise Lazarus evil things. And Lazarus, that's Israel. That's the so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics, man, because we are still under the curses. We are still in the land of our captivity. We still have to go to work for a white man. All right? Oh, well, I work for a so-called black. It doesn't matter. You work for a so-called black that's in jail with you, okay? And the jail belongs to the so-called whites. All right? It don't matter. All right? You're still in captivity. All right? Furthermore, it says, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. So this is Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus. This is Yahweh Shai telling you, hey, those people that had it good, they're going to have it bad. And those people that had it bad, they're going to have it good. Okay, well, that's, that's kind of a reach. No, it's not. This is what Yahweh Shai came to do. It says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That's what we've been going into in this video. We are beaten down, man. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Again, going back to Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. The changing of times, the promotion, okay? The setting down of one and the exalting of the other, okay? All of this is aimed at Israelites, because all of this is the state of Israel. This was the state of Israel during the time of Yahweh Shai, completely destroyed and under the Roman Empire. And things got worse starting, in 60 AD with Emperor Nero. And then ultimately, with the so-called Roman Jewish Wars from 67 AD to 73 AD, man. The sacking of the temple. But the point here is that though we are in a low state, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai has plans to put us in a high state. Okay? Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. Again, going into Edom, having to drink of that cup. Verse 22, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So what do we see here? We see one people being saved from their punishment and another people going straight into captivity, man. And that's what we've always seen. Dregs of it. Even in ancient Egypt, when the Israelites were being saved, ancient Egypt was being destroyed, and now we are in spiritual Egypt, according to Revelation 11 verse 8. Okay, now they have to drink the cup. Okay, Psalm 75 verse 8. For in the hand of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he pours out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all of the wicked of the earth, shall wring them out and drink them. I want to close out with that one, but I want to get that in another translation. Let's get the NLT. Yeah, let's see right here. The NLT says, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai holds a cup in his hand that is full of foaming wine mixed with spices. He pours out wine in judgment, and all the wicked must drink it, draining the dregs. I was hoping they had a different word for dregs. Let's get the definition. Let's see what it says. Dregs, to the solid sediment that settles at the bottom of a liquid. So you're getting everything, man. You know, like when you get some cranberry. Well, yeah, when you get some grape juice, right? Because that's where wine comes from. And then at the bottom of the cup, there's pieces of grapes that people, you typically don't drink that. Like once you get to that very very last part, most people, just throw away the backwash. Well, the scripture says they're going to drink every little bit of it, even that part that nobody ever drinks, the solid sediment that settles at the bottom, man. It says the term describes the least desirable, the lowest, or the most worthless parts of something, the dregs of society, the tiny amount of liquid and particles remaining at the bottom of a container. That's the spirit, man. That's exactly what I just said, man. That's the judgment that they have come. And see, our people have to understand that in the same way that we had a drink of that cup, they have to drink of the cup. All right, and furthermore, Revelation 18:6, going into the reward of Babylon, says, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works in the cup which she has filled." Fill to her double. Again, going back into that cup of judgment, man. The cup of judgment that Esau Edom has to drink. It's going to be twice, man. It's going to be twice as bad. So the hell that we're going through, man, it doesn't even compare to the hell that they're going to catch. And it doesn't compare unto the glory. Even Paul spoke about that. When he got pulled up into the third heaven, he said, I saw things that were even unspeakable, man. All right, but they were beautiful. All right, that's what we have, man. And that, what we have in front of us. All right, what we have in front of us overshadows the hell that we're gonna go through. And being able to, really, as we see Babylon falling and Salakia for going on, this is going to be a short message, but the Spirit's going to do what the Spirit's going to do. But really, even if we don't get beamed up, and we go out, because we don't know what we did in our past life, but the scripture says put on as the elect, we're going to act, we're going to do the work of the elect. But even if you don't get beamed up, we understand Babylon is falling, and that in itself, that's a gift. The scripture says, it's a gift to see the downfall of thine enemy. That's joy to see the downfall of your enemy. I know it's in Sirach. Ecclesiastes 20, yeah, there you go, 25 and 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that has the joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. Even if you don't get beamed up, I mean, we get to see this place go to shit. We get to see these Edomites cry about, I can't make it now. We get to see these Edomites cry as they begin, as they begin to feel some of the curses that Israel has had to live with, man. And now those motherfuckers have to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but they won't do it. Why? Because they're weak, man. See, that's how you know that we are the chosen people too, because only the so-called black standards and Hispanics can deal with a difficult life and then turn it into something, create inventions, make music, start styles, create restaurants, recipes, make food. Only Israelites can do that, man. All right. A perfect example is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Even through the escape of ancient Egypt, we still came up with a meal, man. All right. The color TV, the cell phone, GPS, a home security system, man. The telephone, peanut butter. I mean, so much more, man. But the point is that only Israelites can do that, man. You know what these people do when shit gets hard? When they get fired from their job, they end up offing themselves with their family, including the fucking family dog, man. They are not the people, man. Salakia for going on. I hope that this has been edifying. There is hope. And until the next one, shalom.